Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Keisha Lance Bottoms, former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia. You all know I live in Georgia. And she has now announced, over the past week, she's announced that she is running for governor of Georgia. She's a demon rat. We're going to be talking about that today on Chat with Me, Linda B. All right, warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, hit the all notifications, stick around to the end. Also, follow me on my other social media platforms. On Twitter, follow me as Linda B Podcast. And on TikTok and Instagram, Chat with Me, Linda B. All right, so we got Keisha Lance Bottoms, Black woman running for governor. The election is actually next year in November. And you remember, I live in Georgia, and Stacey Abrams ran for the governor of Georgia in 2018 and 2022. And of course, she lost both times to Brian Kemp, the Republican. I got my issues with him. So I got to talk about this whole Keisha Lance Bottoms thing. Now, remember, we don't vote based on color over here on the conservative side. We vote based on policy. And so no matter what person you get in front of you, it might vary with the with the Republicans, because sometimes you get a rhino Republican and they will be for some things that a conservative would want, and they will go, kind of wishy-washy. They're not like true MAGA Republicans by no sense of the imagination. And then you have the Democrats, which you always get the same thing. So what is Keisha Lance Bottoms for? Well, she did not seek re-election, and a lot of people see that as a failure on her part. Okay, that's the first thing. I see it in her comments. Well, you didn't come and continue the work, and you're a failure. This is a no for you. You could have done this, you could have done that. And she didn't really do anything for, the education problems, the crime, and all of that. And let me just tell you a little bit about what she's about. Now, this is during her tenure. Okay, this is not anything made up. You can look it up. Okay, so she created the first LGBTQ advisory board. Yes, she did. And the focus of it is to focus on strategies, initiatives, and programs that would better improve the lives of Atlanta residents who are belonging to that community, LGBTQ, which I don't have a problem with. But my issue, with people Democrats that say that is like, it looks like, from my vantage point, from my point of view, it looks like the LGBTQ rights begin where mine end, because they typically look like they're pushing that off onto those of us who are more biblical. Like, you have to go along with this, okay? And she created the first LGBTQ advisory board, okay? And on that, she had, as part of that, she had, oh, wait a minute. Also, she created the LGBTQ affairs. She also created that. And on that committee, there were two entertainers, Miss Lawrence, who is a gender fluid man, okay, and Feroza Saeed. Looks like a woman, but is really a biological man. So a trans female. So this is looking like this is where her focus is. Judging by history, judging by, that seems to be the focus. And then she got a Malik Brown to be the director over this LGBTQ affairs. Okay, he's the director. And I checked him out. I checked a little bit on all of these three people. Okay, and he, of course, belongs to LGBTQ. And he started, and I found this on his Instagram, a youth pride summit. Let that sink in. A youth pride summit. I saw that on his Instagram. Now, I'm telling you, when they focus on that community, and we have love for everybody, let's be clear. I'm not homophobic, but don't push it off on other people, because I'm going to tell you, if she were to become the governor of Georgia, I'm just going to tell you right now, they will bring this mess, these drag queens and all that other stuff into the schools. She is also against vetting of illegals. She said Atlanta is a welcoming city. She would not work with ICE. She does not work with the U.S. Marshals. She refuses to have detention centers for illegals. Then Georgia would become a sanctuary state. Look in her history. Okay, that is all we can go by. We can only assume that if you're going to do that as mayor, which she was the mayor of Atlanta from 2018 to 2022, that as governor, she would push these same initiatives as the governor of Georgia. Again, I live in Georgia. I have great interest in her not becoming the governor of Georgia, because these are things, these policies, and to me, are detrimental to all Georgians. Okay, all Georgians. She was on the list to be one of Joe Biden's potential VP candidates, but he chose Kamala Harris over her. Now, looking at what she's been promoting, and also I just want to point out that she is for the continuing, ongoing LGBTQ advisory. She is for the continuance of it. So it looks like, based on what I'm just reading, that little bit right there, that this would be a lot of money from taxpayers going towards these initiatives. You know, we got to ask ourselves, is this where I want my money going? Do I want it going to drag queens in the schools? Because I believe that that is where it would go. Okay. The books that are inappropriate, everything else, telling people about their bodies, confusing them about how God made them. I am just like, no. And she is for abortion. Okay. She is pro-abortion, pro-sanctuary city. She is anti-Trump. And she was for the mask mandate. And she did not want Governor Kemp to reopen Georgia businesses. She spoke out against it. And she accused then first term President Trump of stoking the flames of racism. So she is going to be doing that whole race thing, the whole them against us, or they're not like us. That's what she's going to be doing. So just remember, Georgia voters. Now, I know not all of my audience is from Georgia or lives in Georgia, but I had to put this out there because some of you might be you're going to be having your own gubernatorial races, no matter what state you're living in. And you got to know that a Democrat is a Democrat, no matter what state they're in, what jurisdiction they're in. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. State, federal, or local level. It does not matter. They're going to push the alphabet stuff. They're going to push it. They're going to be more for illegal immigrants than for American citizens. Now, she put a lot of effort into that LGBTQ stuff from what I read, and you can look it up. She did that. And I just showed you the pictures of the people that she put in these committees and advisory boards. They also belong to the LGBTQ community. And I repeat myself when I say Malik Brown started a youth pride summit. I'm telling you, Keisha Lance Bottoms is a no. No, no, no. Okay, we don't need any of this radical stuff. Now, on the Republican side, Chris Carr, Republican. Now, I tried to find out a little bit about him. He is the current Georgia Attorney General. Okay, he's the current one. Now, he is more pro-life than she is. I said more pro-life, not 100%. Okay, once a woman is past 6 weeks, he doesn't want abortion. So he's for the ban after 6 weeks. So he's more pro-life, but not completely pro-life. But in a way, most women are at least 6 weeks by the time they find out they're pregnant anyway. So in a way, that's pretty much pro-life, if you look at it that way. And so he went after some people for fraud. He did do that. And that's what I found out about him. He went after people for fraud, and he's more pro-life. And he's the current Georgia Attorney General. Chris Carr, Republican. So, and that's only like one Republican and 3 demon rats. So, I'm going to always lean Republican because I don't want the stuff in the school system. If he is a Republican that's worth anything, he will go up against this ideology that they're pushing in the schools off on our children. That should be just a no. So I just want to let everybody know, Keisha Lance Bottoms. All right, watch this.
Growing up, we didn't need an alarm clock. We had grandmama. It's 6:38 a.m. Weatherman says sunny, but my leg is hurting. Take an umbrella. I'm Keisha Lance Bottoms, and grandmama's wake-up calls were a reminder that she was looking out for us. Only when she passed did I find out that she called everybody every morning. My aunts, my uncles, even my cousins. With grandmama, we knew someone had our back. But these days, most Georgians are right to wonder who's looking out for us. Donald Trump is a disaster for our economy and our country. From his failure to address rising prices to giving an unelected billionaire the power to cut Medicare and Social Security. It's one terrible thing after another. And while I laugh when Donald Trump spent part of his first day in office firing me from a job I didn't even have, for thousands of hardworking Georgians who've lost their livelihoods, Donald Trump is no laughing matter. Well, my grandmama taught me no matter how hard they swing, you never stay down. You fight back. That's why I'm running for governor. Because Georgia families deserve far better than what Donald Trump and Republicans are giving us. Georgia is one of the only states in America that still refuses to expand Medicaid, costing nearly 300,000 Georgians health care coverage and forcing 9 rural hospitals to close. That's crazy, and it's got to stop. That's why as governor, I'll make expanding Medicaid my top priority. And we should be doing more to protect those who protect us. As mayor, I gave police officers and firefighters an historic pay raise. And as governor, I'll work to eliminate state income taxes for teachers. I'll focus on helping small businesses thrive across Georgia. Crack down on corporate landlords who are buying up property that drives up rent and housing costs. And let's invest in our children's future, giving them better pathways to college or career training. My grandmama taught us to always stand up to bullies and to always look out for each other. And that's the kind of governor I'll be for Georgia. I'm Keisha Lance Bottoms, and I hope you'll join our campaign.
All right, so that is Keisha Lance Bottoms, and she brought up some things that I just want to make sure you guys are aware. Every time they say that Donald Trump is cutting Medicaid, cutting, that's true. He is cutting it, but they're going to switch it to make it look like he's taking health care from people that need it. No, he's cutting it from people that are just lazy and cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse of it. He's cutting welfare for people that are able-bodied. So in other words, they're just not going to be allowed to just sit up and to collect. They're going to have work requirements. There are work requirements that are put into the whole welfare, SNAP, food stamp, whole thing, that you have to work at least 20 or 30 hours a week. So they're going to have to get up and work to continue to maintain benefits. So it is cutting, but it's cutting it for people who are misusing it or abusing it. And it's cutting it from illegals so that we can have more of it for actual citizens. When they say that they're cutting it, yes, they are, but they're not telling you they're cutting it from the illegals who are not legal here anyway. So you just remember, don't just go by what they're saying in the news or what some smooth, silver-tongued Democrat politician is telling you. Look it up yourself, because there's a lot of misinformation going on about that. He is cutting waste, fraud, abuse, making people work who have nothing wrong with them, who are young enough. Okay, so just remember that. Also, she mentioned about better pathways for children. How is she going to do that? Their whole policy on the Democrat side is not school choice. What about parents who want to homeschool or send their children to a Christian private school? Demon rats don't like God very much. So she would be for public schools. And public schools is where they do that indoctrination. And President Trump said, you do that, no, you get no money. And then you're going to have these people saying, you're taking away our education. No, the Democrats did that a long time ago under Jimmy Carter with that disastrous Department of Education. That's why President Trump dismantled it, okay? Because reading scores, test scores went down after the Department of Education was formed We were doing better before. So educate yourselves out there. Educate yourselves. All right. And she mentioned something else. The prices. Well, the prices were horrible under Joe Biden. They're actually going down now. So ridiculous. And she said a little bit about what she would do, which is good that she said something she would do. But comments under her post, I saw this commercial actually on Instagram that there were people saying, don't focus on him, focus only on what you're going to do. Because if you do that, just focus on him, you're going to lose. She's going to lose anyway, unless there's some hanky panky going on with the election. Unless there's hanky panky. And Brad Raffensperger, who is the Secretary of State, there's rumblings out there that he might run, that I wouldn't vote for him. I mean, I have to see who else is out there on the Republican side. But I wanted to let you guys know that don't forget now, focus on policy, not color, not gender, not sexual orientation. Policies are what matter. And the Democrats love to use color and gender and orientation to make us be emotional and to get our vote that way. And in actuality, they have policies that hurt all Americans. So for the state of Georgia voters, please, for the love of God and all that is holy, vote correctly next year. Well, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to smash like, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications, and also follow me on my other social media platforms. I am on Twitter as Linda B Podcast and TikTok and Instagram as ChatWithMeLindaB. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.